Good evening and welcome to the February 6, 2023 meeting of the City of Summit Zoning Board of Adjustment. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. My name is Joe Steiner. I'm the Vice Chairman of the Summit Zoning Board. In accordance with New Jersey Statute 10:4-10, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to a newspaper of record and has been posted here at City Hall. This meeting is a judicial procedure and proceeding, and any questions or comments must be limited to the issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision, and decorum and appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. For the benefit of the interested public, this meeting is being live streamed to the city's YouTube page and also being broadcast on Summit's governmental channels, which are Comcast 34 and Verizon Channel 30. A transcript of this meeting is also being taken using the video and audio, so we need all speakers to utilize one of the microphones in the room. Please note that the fire exits are to my right, your left, and at the back of the room where you entered. The city has a listening system to assist the hearing impaired. If anyone needs that hearing assistance, please obtain the system at the dais and return it thereafter. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Sure. Chairman Spur is excused this evening. Vice Chairman Steiner.
Here.
Ms. Newell. Here. Mr. Gonzalez.
Here.
Mr. Mullen.
Here.
Mr. Millay.
Here.
Mr. Loikitz.
Here.
Ms. Toth.
Here.
Ms. Sager is excused this evening. Mr. Feskins is also excused this evening. Mr. Yuko.
Here.
You have a quorum. You may proceed.
Okay. To introduce some people, Andy Ball, sitting to my right, is the zoning board's attorney. He will advise the board members on matters of law and is the key interface with the applicant's attorney. Mr. Ball does not vote on applications. Stephanie Sulios, whom you just heard from, is a city employee and is the zoning board secretary. Ms. Sulios works with the applicants on preparing their applications, planning our agendas, and keeping our meeting minutes. She also does not vote on the application. Also present is Dipti Sheath, the board's engineer, seated at the council table. She is going to provide input to the board and may ask questions of the applicant and witnesses. The engineer also does not vote on the application. Our board consists of 7 regular members and up to 4 alternates. All members can participate in the hearings tonight, but a maximum of 7 can vote. Most applications require a simple majority to be approved. Some require 5 affirmative votes. You'll be told which majority will be required before we begin our deliberations. We generally hear the cases in the order that they are listed on the agenda. We try to have each hearing last no more than 30 minutes, but we do understand that some cases are too complex to be heard within that time frame. Each hearing begins with the applicant or their attorney giving an overview of the application and the variances that are required. We then hear from any expert witnesses the applicant may have to help explain the application and why the variances are needed. Board members may ask questions of the applicant, their attorney, and the expert witnesses. Once the board members and the board professionals have completed their questioning, the public will have an opportunity to ask questions. This is not the time for you to tell us what you think of the application. That opportunity will come at the end of the hearing. Before you ask your questions, we want you to come to the podiums and please clearly state your name, spell your last name, and provide your address. It's important that our court reporter be able to keep a clear and accurate public record, and that's being done off the audio system with YouTube and all the other wonderful technology that we have, so that's why it's important to use the microphones. After all the witnesses have been heard, members of the audience have their second opinion to speak, and at that time you may express your opinion, positive or negative, about the application. At that point, we will be swearing you in to provide testimony. Now, the public hearing is then closed, and we enter into executive session where the board members discuss the case and vote. You'll be able to listen to our executive session, but you will not normally be able to participate in our discussion. Most applications are heard and decided in the same evening. In cases requiring additional information or testimony which we can't get presented tonight, we'll carry your case to another date, and it will not be decided at this meeting. Krista Anderson, who is the city's zoning officer, has asked that we remind all applicants that they must read carefully the resolution that documents the zoning board's decision and to pay particular attention to conditions contained in the resolution. For example, if there's a landscaping plan required, you must obtain it and submit it to John Linson, the city's forester. If a grading plan is required, you must have one prepared by a civil engineer and submit 3 copies along with the application fee to the city's engineering department. Failure to satisfy all conditions in a resolution will result in a delay in getting your application approved, and it will cause extra work for city zoning staff. The resolutions documenting the board's decision are normally available 1 month after we decide the case. So we're now going to go through the 2 cases that we have on the docket tonight, and what I'm going to ask is that you approach and tell us whether or not you have an attorney with you or experts, and whether or not you can complete your presentation in 30 minutes or not. And we'll start with 30 Hawthorne Place, Mr. and Mrs. Dunman. Either one of you? Either one?
Morgan Dunnan. We have our architect, Tim Cleese, to help us present.
Do you think you can get this done in 30 minutes?
Yes. I believe so.
Okay. And then the second one is 17 Stockton Road, Joanna and Teresa Palillo. All we want now is whether or not, do you have any experts with you?
No.
Okay, and
I have
do you think
architectural
do you think you
plans
can
as
do
well.
it in 30 minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Have a seat, relax. You can watch us do the first one, and then I'll be with the next one. So we can go ahead and bring up the Dunhams. Did I get that right, Dunham? Yeah. Okay. And if you would approach, and you'll be sworn in by our attorney.
If each of you could please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And please, one at a time, state your name, spell your last name.
Morgan Dunnan, D-U-N-N-A-N.
Yes.
Nora Dunn, D-U-N-N-A-N.
Thank you.
Okay, could one of you explain why you're here and what the purpose of your application is? And then once you do that, we may have a question or two, but we're assuming you're going to turn it over to your expert for the bulk of the heavy lifting.
Perfect. We're here because we'd like to put an addition on the second floor of our house and we need the FAR variance.
Okay. That makes it simple. Any questions for the, any questions for the applicants? Okay, then let's go ahead and move. There's let the record show that there's only one other member in the public, and that's the other applicant. If you have a question, please let us know once in a while, but I'm supposed to ask every time. Okay, can you introduce your expert witness?
Yep, this is Tim Cleese, architect.
And if you could please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And please state your name, spell your last name.
It's Timothy Plessy, K-L-E-S-S.
Thank you, and you've appeared before us relatively recently, is that right? Any changes to your credentials since the last time you appeared? License is still in good standing in New Jersey? All right, any questions from the board, or would you like to accept those credentials once again?
We'll accept your credentials, and please let us know what we're looking at here tonight.
Thank you.
And you may want to explain some of the issues
I will.
that some of us have. I'm not sure if the whole board got copies of the email, if you all had a chance to read the resolutions, et cetera. And hopefully we can work a little bit around this late find by city staff.
The, well, Dunn's really hired me to add a second floor to this one-story family room, which is on the right side of the building, which was, I don't know, I think it was added, I'm gonna guess about 15 or 20 years ago by a previous owner.
But you're going to have to use the microphone because
Oh,
they
sorry.
can't.
I think
They're
it was,
they're not going to be able to hear you on the transcript.
I think it was added about 15 or 20 years ago. Good.
Yeah, you can just leave it there. They'll
work?
get you. Yeah.
Okay. So our project that we were initially coming here for tonight is to add the second floor on top of this existing building. And you can see my existing building, I'm going to draw on my BOA 1 sheet, which is the same as your BOA 1 sheet, but I guess I'm going to make it A1.
Right.
So I can draw on top of it. Yeah. The existing ridge of this building is right there. And we are seeking tonight to remove that roof and add this second floor addition onto this building. It's a violation for FAR of 0.9%. So it's less than 1%. It's 117 square feet. Yes, that's the variance that we're seeking. And what we did to kind of control it and control the massing of the building is that you can see how we pushed our building down and then came back up with our little doghouse dormer here so that we could scale our roof down and not make this building appear to be too large on the facade. So that's our front elevation. It's really that addition of 364 square feet. 117 of it is the deviation that we're requesting the FAR variance for, which is that 0.9%. Now what it gives us, I'm going to go now to my BOA 2 sheet, which is exactly the same as yours. I'm not going to mark it. So we come into the stairway that goes up to the attic, walk into a little vestibule. We were able to pick up a laundry room, come into this new bedroom, and get a full bath off of that new bedroom. So I think the addition itself made sense. We fit it all onto that existing footprint. And I now have, I guess, would this be my A2? Is that
A2
correct?
if it's different, yes.
This is a sheet that you don't have. This is my A2. I just wanted you to see. These two photographs are inside your packet. They're kind of probably around page 22 or something, somewhere towards the rear. And you can see in that photograph A in the packet, the one-story building that we're asking to add up and then add above. And then in this photo C inside that packet, that is where that addition would come onto this site. I'm going to call this 1, and 2, and 3. 1 is really a front view, and you can see our building there. It's very similar to this one, but more of a straight-on shot from the street. And my photo 2 is really from the backyard, where we're talking about adding that building up here on the second floor. Below it, 3 is really a streetscape, and I can pass it around if anybody wants to see it. You know, the street is, this is actually, it's a pretty neighborhood. The houses are a little tighter, they're a little close, but it's a gorgeous neighborhood with housing that looks to me built between about 1910 to 1930, somewhere in that. I call that, it's almost like the big bone area when the structures had a lot of mass to them before. Right after World War II, you know, everything got skinny and small like the Capes. So this is part of that, those bigger structures. And you can see as we come down, there's a lot of diversity on the street. And then we come to our actual site right here, and I think it appears that our building itself will fit really well into the fabric of the neighborhood. And this pushing down of it, where you can see how we've clipped the roof in this second floor so that we could pull our roof down. Like if I go back to my BOA 2 sheet, the front wall of this building is really at 6'6", because we've actually clipped that front area so that we could push the building down and make the addition look more de minimis from the street, and also kind of really in better scale to the existing building. Because we're trying to always make, the primary building continue to read as the primary building. We never would want to lift our ridge up to this point, push everything up too high on the facade. So I think that's where I'm going to quit about the FAR variance. But what happened is, when I did the zoning analysis for the site, I came up with a building coverage, or a lot coverage, of 39.6. And this site really only has an allowable lot coverage of 35. It didn't make any difference to me because it's an existing condition and we're not making it any worse, right? This is a floor area addition, which is actually on the second floor of an existing area which is already counted into lot coverage. So I haven't added any lot coverage. But the lot coverage is greater than allowed, and the site actually received a variance in, I think, 1995 for a lot coverage of 35.9. And the site is existing at 39.6. The site has additional work that has occurred to the site since the application was approved with the Board of Adjustment in
89, 1989,
89.
if I'm reading it right.
Okay. So, no, you're right. I just couldn't remember. So, we would like the board to consider granting us that additional lot coverage this evening. And then as part of our submission for a building permit, we'll follow up with the engineering department and give them a soil erosion control drawing and the drywall design to accommodate our extra coverage, which is over the 35%. I'm not saying the 35.9, but over the 35%, and over what was allowable. Because we in reality are not adding any new coverage this evening. Okay, now, that drawing would have to be approved by the engineer before we could obtain a building permit.
When did the applicants acquire the property?
May 21?
And you didn't do any work to increase the lot coverage of the property, correct?
I think they did some of it. But
Yeah,
they didn't do
there
all
is
of it.
also the further issue of the driveway and patio, and that's brought up in Krista's email to us this afternoon. And again, this is why we were having preliminary discussions on this, where it looks as if, at least according to Krista's email, that you'll notice the driveway and patio revised July 28th, 2022 are completely different. Front walkway has also been changed. So we need to find out when that happened, who did it, who's responsible for it, and what changes did that do on all of the calculations.
Yeah,
I think that work you did,
we
right?
did the work. I'll start with the driveway. The driveway was resurfaced, but the size stayed the same. The patio was replaced from like small pavers to larger pavers. The shape changed a little bit, and the front walkway switched from a side walkway to a front walkway. But our landscaper told us that he was applying for permits, and I truly didn't even question it. And only today, when I got this email a couple hours ago, did I find out that there were no permits, I guess, for any of those things.
Do we, I'll ask your expert, do we know how these changes affect any of the impervious coverage calculations on this application?
Well, it has no effect, because in the application, I have the lot coverage at 39 point, I have the lot coverage at 39.6.
And that's including what's there now, not what was there
That's
2
the
years
survey,
ago.
this survey, which is the survey that I started with, which is the as-built today survey.
There
That's
was
the
a
survey
survey
that
done
I have.
after the fact. We actually reduced the size of the patio, so.
So it's a smaller patio than it was. Usually we get ones that are bigger.
Well, it's
You can
something's
see
bigger
how big it was
because it's
before.
400 feet. I mean, something's, something, maybe the
The
other owner
front
made it
walkway-
bigger and they came and reduced
The
it.
front walkway is longer because it used to go just from the house to the driveway, and now it goes from the house to the sidewalk. So that would have added a little bit, but the back patio it was massive, and it's actually reduced now.
But in terms of our application, I submitted this application with an existing lot coverage of 39.6, because that's what we calculated, whereas 35 is allowed. But for us, it's just an existing non-conforming condition with no change. When Krista went back in and checked through all the old paperwork, she found that it had been allowed to be at 35.9, so
How many square feet are you over?
it's, I just had it, 476 square feet.
Do you think, I mean, what I'm thinking, just going by what you said, doesn't sound like the walkway combined with the net reduction
It's
in the
not.
patio is enough to.
It was, more work was done with the previous owner that made it
Right.
larger to start with, and then she maybe they got 200 square feet and the other people had 270 square feet or something. There's more going on, I think.
Yeah, what I'm trying to understand is, it sounds like the prior owner said, got their variance, then went ahead and did a little extra.
Yeah, I think so. Or maybe the variance is from 89.
Yeah.
I don't even know if there was another owner in there in 99.
No, it was the same owner the whole time.
From 89 all the way? So maybe they, after they finished their addition, I think they probably added more
Right.
impervious to the site.
With the changes you described, it sounds like it's relatively neutral to where you were starting, which
I would say
is
so.
a little bit of a different calculus than if you went ahead and did a lot of expansions
Yeah,
beyond the
I mean, our front
variance.
walkway is only this wide, that times the depth doesn't come close to 400 some square feet, so.
Right.
Let me ask our expert from engineering perspective questions, please.
So you will take the increase from 35% to 39.6 as it stands today. That is the correct as-built. 39.6 lot coverage is the correct what's in the as-built today.
Uh-huh.
Will you testify that the as-built is what it is today? Out in
Yes,
field?
the
Okay,
as-built,
yeah.
as the survey that you have, the as-built is as the conditions exist today.
Okay. I would request, because it was part of my memo, as, that some of the were, on the plans, things were written in, handwritten in. We would request as a condition or as part of the second set of plans, to just have things more formally, per CAD, if you can,
Uh-huh.
instead of putting them out.
Well, it'll
down
go to
by
an
marker.
engineer now.
Absolutely, yeah. So this way we can see the actual changes and maybe the coverage as per the areas that you have on your plans.
Okay,
Yeah, that'd be great.
that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so as long as the increase is accommodated, we're looking between, if you're going from 35%, to 39.6, we're looking at an increase of a volume of about 150 cubic feet, give or take, for a dry well capacity. But I will let them finalize the calculations for us, yes.
Okay, so and this would then have does it have a dry well in the proposal now?
No, it does not.
So you are stipulating that a dry well will be placed into the plan.
Yes.
And that will come with soil erosion, sediment control plans, and also a grading plan. So we
Yes.
could understand what the elevations are, piping systems that will lead from the roof leader or your impervious areas to
Mhm.
collect that
Yes.
water. Thank you.
For my purposes, can you just repeat those three
Sure,
plans?
no problem. The grading plan and a soil erosion and sediment control plan to show our pipe layouts and the roof leaders, however they want to accommodate the stormwater, the piping that will lead to the dry well on their plans. So we'll have to see some elevations and inverts for these, and details for these new systems.
And these would normally have been on the plans that we would have gotten ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to repeat that the plans that we have right now have some handwritten markups on it. If that can be clarified for us, so we're not trying to guess what those are exactly. That'd be
Okay,
great.
yeah.
Thank
So
you.
the drawings will have to be approved by you as the board engineer and the engineering department?
It
the
can go
city's
to
engineer?
permits after,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think specifically we would want four
Deputy, yeah,
Okay,
board engineers.
board engineer
no problem.
to approve it. And my personal thought would be prior to the resolution being adopted. I know sometimes we do it prior to the building permit being granted. I just think we should make it happen fast.
So would that be an issue? How quickly
That's-
do you think you can get plans in for?
You know, I don't know, it's just so hard to find an engineer now that can get.
I'm sorry?
It's hard to find an engineer, because everybody's busy, but,
Do you think
but
you
no,
can-
we'll wait for the permit application.
Do you
For the
think you can get it
resolution,
within 30 to 45 days?
It'd probably take us 45, I would think. Like, I don't think we'll hit the next meeting.
Okay.
Well, actually, it has to go, you'll be approved, right? It would be probably 2 meetings.
So if we could just stress to get it to us as quickly as possible so our board engineer can review and we could get that all incorporated into the resolution of approval, that would be ideal.
Okay.
Any questions? I haven't heard from questions on the, I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm done.
You're done?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Tom?
Yeah, just one question, Mr. Klesse. I think I heard you testify that your FAR is 25.9%, but Chris is calling it 26.45. Are
Oh,
you?
I'm sorry. Yes, then her, I always go with her number.
That we tried to
I'm
as
not
well.
arguing
So
with her. Yeah, it's a lot of work to argue with Krista.
just to make sure that we understand on the same wavelength here. Okay.
So we're using Krista's number.
Yes.
Any other questions from this?
I had a
Okay.
question, but,
I'm sorry.
oh,
Go ahead.
if I may, thank you. This is just, affecting somewhat the neighbors to the right. I'm thinking about the way the sun hits their house or something. In person, it looks a lot closer than it seems to look on the plans. And have you had conversations with them? Do they support this application? I know they're not here, which is always a good thing.
Yeah, I've talked to them about it, and they haven't had any issues.
And you're going to keep that really pretty Palladian window in the back, it looked like?
Yes, I
Yeah.
definitely want to keep that.
Okay.
Yeah, we left it.
Yeah.
That's what let us have to come up
Mhm.
with the addition, which is why I was trying to push it back down. This is really,
Any other-
the sun is really here.
Any other questions from board members? Any questions from the public? Seeing none, do you have any other witnesses, or that's, okay? At this point, it's time for the public to tell us what they think, if anybody wants to. Seeing none, do you have anything that you'd like to say in conclusion as a wrap-up?
Thanks for your time, appreciate it.
Okay, I guess we're ready for conditions.
All right, and I've got 3, and Dipti, please jump in and correct me if I need to update those at all. But first is our usual compliance with all those conditions noted in the board engineer's memorandum. Second is that revised plans incorporating comments will be submitted to the board engineer and the zoning officer for review and approval. And third is that the applicants will submit a stormwater management plan, which will include the addition of a dry well with a volume of approximately 150 cubic feet to accommodate all excess impervious coverage above 35%. This shall include a grading plan, soil erosion, and sediment control plan. Anything else?
No.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, who,
Scott,
Do you want to add a condition too, that all the plans for the house are submitted, so Krista can have the exact FAR number?
That, I think, is covered by the second one, that
Okay,
revised
all right.
plans incorporating those comments would be submitted to both the engineer and the zoning officer.
okay?
I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
maybe one more thing to make sure that we're on the same page here. The plans with any of the markups on the plans to be more formalized. I don't know how to say that exactly correctly, but yeah,
So revised plans, finalizing any markups.
thank you, yes.
Any issues with those conditions?
I have one, maybe I'll do this as part of, I'll start off deliberations with it. Because we don't have drainage testimony or any of the other stuff that we most of the time get ahead of time, should we retain drainage jurisdiction for 2 years in case something happens to a neighborhood?
Yeah.
What that means is that should a neighbor have a drainage problem because of what happens here, they can come to the city and to this board for relief.
That's fine.
Our neighbor to the one side already has massive drainage problems.
Well,
So
no,
we might
only
have-
if we're creating some new drainage.
Okay, all right, I just don't want to be held accountable.
Which neighbor has to?
You may
change?
make it better,
Yeah, I think we're gonna actually probably improve the drainage, because we're gonna collect water.
Okay, yeah.
but if it gets
pumps right now
worse,
onto
they
the
may come to see you.
Currently, it pumps onto the street and drains about 4 houses down and just freezes a big sheet of ice all the way down the street. It's pretty horrible right now.
The neighbor's water.
Some
That's
pump goes right
engineering.
onto the street and just freezes the whole street.
That's probably an engineering department.
So I don't want to be blamed
I
for
still
that.
think we're doing the right thing here
Yes.
by retaining
Yes.
jurisdiction, unless anybody on the board objects to that.
I'll just note that is one of our usual conditions, is retaining
That's-
drainage
that's
jurisdiction
fine.
in any case where there's a potential drainage issue.
Okay, who wants to kick it off?
I will. It sounds like you're doing a very, well, I think they said, a faithful addition. It's going to look nice in the neighborhood. It's in line with the houses. It's very cute. It's not going to be substantially like an eyesore or too big. It makes the house functional, and it sounds like you guys are more than willing to take on water issues that are on your street. Maybe not all of the water issues, but it's going to solve some of those issues, which is good. So there are a lot of benefits there. I see no detriments. I would approve this.
I too can support this issue, this application. I know your architect has worked hard to make this sort of the secondary massing on the house, and although it was hard to see the streetscape, certainly that's consistent with many of the other houses in this. I think HPC refers to the neighborhood as Edwardian. And although you didn't have a permit to move your sidewalk, bringing it out to the street makes the street seem more pedestrian-friendly, and it should be a very pedestrian-friendly street, so I think that was the right move. So I can support this application.
Anyone else? Okay, no, I think that, I think we've come up with a compromise to move this forward, and trust that the competent engineer that you will, New Jersey licensed engineer that you will be bringing on board will be able to, and I'm sure he or she can discuss it with Tifty to get a sense of what it is she's looking for so that we get the appropriate result that we're looking for in this case. And I can certainly support it as well. I don't see any negatives to the neighborhood. I see positives because even though you're concerned about the neighbor's water, maybe you'll retain some of it and they won't punch that much out anymore. We can hope. But I think it's a positive, and that certainly outweighs any negatives, which I don't see to begin with. I would entertain a motion to approve if the board is so inclined. Okay. May we have a roll call?
Sure. Vice Chairman Steiner,
Yes.
Ms. Knoll,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Mullen,
Yes.
Mr. Malay,
Yes.
Mr. Loiketz,
Yes.
Ms. Toth.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Just leave the drawings for her, that you, at least the one you marked. I think we had two, A1 and 2. And if you want to come up and get ready.
Once you start, we'll get to
Yeah,
it.
we'll get to it. Okay. Okay, Mr. Canillo, I guess we're going to swear you in to begin.
Let's just give Stephanie a second.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that was Stephanie. The red jackets got me.
You're now an applicant.
I'm sorry.
You could raise your right hand. Do you swear from testimony you're about to give in this matters the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
And please state your name, spell your last name.
sure. First name is Johan, last name is Panlilio, Panlilio.
Thank you.
Okay, can you, I gather you don't have any expert witnesses, so we'll allow you to make your own case.
Sure. I do have some supporting documents. Would you like me to?
Well, as you bring them up, let's, go ahead.
Yep.
Are these the same as what we have? Or
Sorry.
are
So
these?
one of the questions on the engineering was, oh, I'm sorry, from the zoning officer, had some questions about something.
Okay, then so it's different, okay.
Sorry, I may not have it enough.
That's all right. No worries.
We'll share.
We can share.
We're good at sharing. So we'll mark this whole package as A1.
A1, okay.
Yep. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so I guess we're applying for a C variance for the side yard setback. The current setback, or the position of the house is fairly to the left side, and the left side of the existing house already encroaches on that setback. So currently, we are looking from our dining room to create a wood deck from our dining room that is on that left side, which actually, I guess, encroaches about 4 feet on that setback on the left side to our neighbor, so that is the variance that we're looking to do for our wood deck.
And these drawings were,
Yeah, so on the engineering, they had some, I guess it's quite, if you look on page 2, or I'm sorry, Krista had some issues or questions about, on the design, or I'm sorry, on the plans, the deck had showed that it was going to the existing side all the way to the end of the building, but that is actually incorrect. The architect had corrected on the corrected survey it's circled, and it states that it's actually 1 foot 2 inches inside of the existing, from the existing wall. So it is not going past the existing wall, and it's not actually going to the existing wall. It's actually 1 foot 2 inches, like, inside of the existing wall of the building. The other question they had was the shed, the existing shed that was there on the survey, that it was within the 4 feet side setback. That old shed had been removed and been replaced. I had called the building department. They had stated that it was 4 feet, the setback, and the new shed has been put within that 4 feet setback on the left side and also in the rear as well. And the architect also showed that correction on the survey as well.
I have a question about the side yard setback.
Yep.
Chris's report says it's either 6.75 or 8 feet. If I understand your new engineering design, you're actually calling it 7.91, is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that variance is 7.91. Has Krista seen this engineering report yet?
That I just got back from the architect in the last few days, so then I brought it here today.
So it looks like the variance should be 7.91. Assuming Krista would agree with it.
So I think what we'll probably do, just because we'll want Chris to review and confirm those numbers, is update that variance to make the formal request to 7.91
Okay.
to be reviewed and approved by our zoning officer.
Okay.
That's acceptable to you?
So it's currently at, you said 4, I'm sorry.
Well, your architect is saying it's 7.91.
Yes, yes.
So that's what we're
yes,
adopting that and saying as long as it can be confirmed
Yes.
by our zoning officer.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. Questions, Dippy, anything from you as far as?
Just want to, there were no space regulations, which is typical of showing the
Sure.
lot coverage and building coverage on your plans.
Yep.
Would you just testify that your lot coverage is not increasing any more than 250 square feet?
Yes, so the architect also did a lot data table,
Oh,
which
okay.
is,
Is that in here?
Yeah, it's on
It's-
the
yes,
last page.
it's the last page.
If you want
Yeah.
to check it,
No
the
problem.
last page.
All right.
What was there before? Was there a deck before or patio?
I'm sorry?
On your house, was there a deck?
There was no existing structure there, no deck, no patio, nothing.
Okay, because it looked like there was something,
Yeah, so we had redone the siding.
okay.
So we had, rather than put new siding and then decide to tear it off, we just hold off until we had a decision.
Okay, so it's 236 square
Yes,
feet. Okay.
yes.
I have nothing further.
Okay, are there any other? I know there's no public here tonight. Have you, but I'll ask the question anyway. Have you talked to your neighbors or gotten any feedback from the?
Yeah,
from
we've
your
gotten
neighborhood?
some feedback. Some individuals were pretty pleased. It's actually helping the neighborhood. We're seeing increases in value in the neighborhood. So we actually just had renovated our house as well, which we had just completed, siding and so forth, which when we bought the house hadn't been renovated for about 30 years. We bought in 2017. So it was a house at first, but now we're trying to make it our home. So we're throwing some capital at the house to improve it. We have a growing family, expecting my 3rd child in March. So we're just trying to, we enjoy this. Our kids are in school here in town, so.
Is there
yeah.
enough screening for the neighbors on the, well, I guess,
Yeah,
on your
so
left side?
that's a great question. I took some pictures, which is on the very back. So there is there's a fence on that side where the deck is. And then there's also some hedging that is there currently.
And the forester also had no comments, he had no objection about.
Yeah, I saw John,
Driveway for coverage.
John Linson. Okay. Any other questions from board members?
As someone who had small children in a deck, it's
Yes.
Are you anticipating putting a gate at the top of the stairs?
Of course.
Good.
Of course.
Okay. Any final comments?
I just, thank you for your time. You know, personally, me and my wife feel that there's a lot of benefits to the deck. There are some other articles in there we learned a lot during the pandemic, and we didn't have that space previously. So during that time, it would have been nice to spend a little bit more time outside, especially with the kids and so forth. So, especially coming from the dining room, we feel that just to walk out and hang out there would be good for the family in itself, but also to also increase value. I believe on one of the pages, there's also a Google Earth aerial view, and a lot of the houses have the same type of, I guess either grandfathered in or had some same type of where it's either patio or so forth, close to within that setback, and we just wanted the same opportunity.
Okay. Any conditions?
Yes, two conditions. One is compliance with those conditions in our board and engineers memorandum. And the second is that the updated plans will be submitted to the zoning officer for review and approval, and specifically to confirm that final setback figure at what we're estimating is 7.91.
Yes.
Okay?
And this one prior to building permit?
Yes.
Or resolution? Which one?
Prior to building permit.
Okay.
Probably safe enough.
I went back to the north. Okay. There's no one for the record, there's no one in the public here to ask what they think about it, so I will not ask the question. Who would like to start? I'm going to start on this side this time.
Walking the neighborhood, everyone has about the same thing. One of your neighbors recently came up to our board with something similar. It's a reasonable request, and thank you for removing the shed, so I would be prone to approve this application.
Thank you.
We have to give you enough ammunition, don't we?
Well, I don't have a vote, but I'm going to say I like the application. It's relatively modest. I would certainly vote in favor if I could. But I do want to compliment you on this supplemental information tonight. It's better than some of the stuff we get from professionals. So, thank you for that. It's
Thank you very much.
educational. The present company is definitely better. I'm talking about applicant professionals.
Thank you.
Okay, again, I think that this is a modest improvement, and there's not any negatives to outweigh with positives, but there are positives for you and your family, and that's important, and I can certainly support this one. Is there a motion to approve it?
Motion to approve.
Second? Is there a second?
Second.
Liz.
Okay. Can we have a roll call?
Vice Chairman Steiner,
Yes.
Ms. Newell,
Yes.
Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Mullen,
Yes.
Mr. Malay,
Yes.
Mr. Loikett,
Yes.
Ms. Toth.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Good luck.
Thank you.
We're getting close to setting a record. Stephanie, it's your show.
Sure. Okay, so we have some resolutions for memorialization. We have 29 Plymouth Road. This is ZB-21-2119-2. Our eligible voting members are Vice Chairman Steiner, Ms. Newell, Mr. Gonzalez, Mr. Mullen, Mr. Malay, Mr. Loikett, and Ms. Toth. Who would like to move that?
So moved.
Wait, where? Oh, okay. And a second?
Second.
Okay. Vice Chairman Steiner,
Yes.
Ms. Newell? Yes. Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Mullen?
Yes.
Mr. Malay?
Yes.
Mr. Loikett?
Yes.
Ms. Toth?
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries. The next one we have is 22 Crescent Avenue. This is ZB-22-2161. Our eligible voting members are Chairman Spur, who is not here this evening, Vice Chairman Steiner, Ms. Newell, Mr. Gonzalez, Mr. Mullen, Mr. Malay, and Mr. Loiketz. Who would like to move that?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Vice Chairman Steiner,
Yes.
Ms. Newell, Mr. Gonzalez,
Yes.
Mr. Mullen,
Yes.
Mr. Malay,
Yes.
Mr. Loiketz.
Yes.
Okay, the motion carries. The next one we have is 58 Hobart Avenue. This is ZB-22-2162. Our eligible voting members are Chairman Spur, Vice Chairman Steiner, Ms. Newell, Mr. Gonzalez, Mr. Mullen, Mr. Malay, and Mr. Loiketz. Who would like to move that?
So moved.
Okay, and then I'll take Mr. Malay as second. Vice Chairman Steiner,
Yes.
Ms. Newell? Yes. Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Mr. Mullen?
Yes.
Mr. Malay?
Yes.
And Mr. Loiketz?
Yes.
The motion carries. Next, we have our minutes for approval from January 18, 2023. I'm going to do a voice vote. All those in favor? Oh, wait,
Aye.
we have to
Aye.
I'm sorry, we have to motion first. We have a motion?
Moved.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
For the record, 8:23.
Very nice.
Our next meeting is Wednesday, February 22nd. It's again a Wednesday because of the holiday on the Monday. So,
Okay.
see you all then.
Thank you.
What?
Oh, thank you.
We are adjourned.